scared for a minute there. All right. So today we are moving on from analysis by division to classification. And if you Google analysis by division or classification, you probably come up with the combined classification division essay. In essence, they are the flip of each other, and we'll talk about that in a second. So what I want to do today, we'll just stroll through what's on Canvas, because I'm not going to ask my question if people got a chance to look through what's on Canvas already. I'm just going to just take it as a no one stroll through what's on Canvas. And then I would like to break you up into teams and have you brainstorm different classification topics, right? Yeah, so this week we are looking at classification essays. What's the difference between a classification essay and an analysis by division essay? We'll look at connective and transition words and the parts of a paragraph. So first off, classification. A classification essay is where you explain your topic by putting it in a larger category. So you're taking an individual topic and you're putting it in a larger category, and the traits of that larger category help you explain your specific topic. So you can think of it as the reverse of an analysis by division essay, where an analysis by division, we take one large topic and we break it down into smaller parts. Here, we take a smaller topic and putting it into a larger category. So just for a visual, that's the idea there, right? I'm gonna show it again. So the smallest category, the smallest item here is a species, and we're putting it into a larger category, genus. So this is in biology where you categorize living things according to species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, domain. And as the chart shows, we are going into larger and larger categories. So as we go into larger and larger categories, so for example, take a dog. A dog is a specific type of species. A coyote is a different type of species. A fox is a different type of species, and so on and so on. But I shouldn't say it that way. Canine is the species. Being too simplistic. Canine is a species. Feline is another species, right? But then we can put them into a larger category in terms of genus. So they're carnivores. We put them in an even larger category. They are vertebrates. They're land dwellers. And so we're putting them into larger and larger categories where they will share traits with more and more things, right? So species is very specific, genus is less specific, and so on and so on. So in classification, we're taking the small item and we're putting it in the larger one. So start with your specific topic. So we looked at universities as a university as our topic for the ABD. So let's use it again for classification since they are relatively close ways of explaining things. So we can put a university in a larger category. Let's call this larger category learning institutions, right? Sorry about that. So you have a university is a very specific thing, and we're putting it into a larger category, learning institutions. This means that we will be able to explain what a university is because people know what a learning institution is. So by saying that it belongs to that category, we can apply the same characteristics that we know about any kind of learning institution to a specific topic like university. So you can see how this is in reverse. If we were doing an ABD, we would start with learning institutions, and then we'll break down learning institutions into smaller components. So our first task is to ask ourselves, what makes an institution educational? What do I need to have to be an educational institution? And when we determine that, we will look to see how our specific topic, university, matches those traits. So for example, let's say we identify that all educational institutions have an academic staff qualified to teach subjects. They all have students who attend to be instructed on these subjects. And they all have a timeline for instruction. So your course could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Primary school is 7 years. Secondary school is 5 or 7 years, and so on. So there's a specific time frame in which students will receive instruction. We have students attending, and we have academic staff qualified to teach subjects. So the explanation here, just to remember that you're putting a specific thing in a larger category, right? So they tell you, for example, classify cars in terms of body size, full size, mid size, compacts, subcompacts, and so on. So if I have Nissan Navara, for example, I will put that in a category, the larger category of pickup truck, or as we like to say in Trinidad, van, right? And because I know what a pickup truck has, I then know what the Navara has. What elements or characteristics the Nissan truck will have, because I now forget the name, right? So the idea of putting one thing in a larger category. So let me just go back for a second. So if we took, if we were doing an ABD, we would be explaining how a car works by breaking it down into 3 major subcategories. So a car must have a combustion, oh, well, no, I lie, because now you have electric cars and they don't have combustion engines. So a car must be self-propelled. A car has at least 2 doors, and a car has 4 wheels, right? So anything, if I say then um, a aqua is a car. It's self-propelled. It has at least 2 doors, so it has 4 doors, and it's on wheels. So I can distinguish it as a car. I could put it in that category. So here's an example of a classification essay. And here it's identifying different types of diets. So in the ABD, for example, if we were doing an analysis by division of a diet, we would say what are the 3 main components of a diet that it must do for it, right? And we will explain those 3 components of a diet so that people understand what a diet is. Here, we're saying that these different eating habits are diets because they meet the traits of what we know a diet to be. And you could go back and read this at your own pace, at your own leisure. We won't read through it today, though it's short. So the next thing we want to look at are parts of the paragraph. And we take paragraphs for granted. You've been writing paragraphs since primary school, so you take it for granted. But it's good to go over what are the parts of the paragraph. So there are 3 main sections of a paragraph. The topic sentence, which is your opening sentence, supporting sentences, and a concluding or clincher sentence. Right? So the topic sentence tells you what your paragraph is going to discuss. The supporting sentences flesh out that topic sentence, and the concluding sentence or clincher sentence ends with a bang and then links to the next paragraph. So let's take a closer look at the topic sentence. It opens your paragraph and it sets the tone. So from the topic sentence, from the very first sentence of your paragraph, your reader should know what the paragraph is going to be about. It's the main idea of your paragraph. You can think of it as a mini thesis statement. So in this example, you're writing about your day. So you want the topic sentence to give the reader a quick snapshot of what your day was like. Today started off hectically, but ended beautifully. So I know this paragraph is going to describe the day. So the expectation in the writer is that each paragraph will then tell me how your day was hectic, started off hectically, but ended beautifully. Right, so in this example, the topic sentence is Brian has proven to be a disruptive, inattentive, and rude student. So my expectation now is the supporting paragraph, supporting top sentences will tell me about Brian and how he and explain how he's disruptive, how he's inattentive, and how he's rude. Right? So the next sentence starts on that first point. He's disrupted. He continually disrupts class by speaking out of turn. This would not be a problem if he was contributing something to class discussions with his outbursts. Unfortunately, he keeps making inappropriate jokes. So that's being disruptive. And go on then to the next point. He's inattentive. So this also suggests that Brian is not paying attention in class at all. I often see him staring at his cell phone during class, and when I take the phone, he stares out the window. He also, now I'm going on to him being rude. He also interrupts when other students are contributing, and often his interruptions are aggressive and insulting. Brian's continuous outbursts, inability to focus, and bullying behavior warrant serious attention and intervention. So we see in the first part, we address our subtopic, then we address our subtopic, and then we address our subtopic. So you want your paragraph to be organized like that. So think of it the same way we're organizing an essay, and your paragraph is about one main point. Then as you split up your paragraph, as you draft your paragraph, make sure that you group all your subpoints together. So all the information, all the illustration, all the examples of each specific subpoint in your paragraph should be grouped together, right? So as I said, the topic sentence lets us know the paragraph is going to explain how Brian is a bad student. And all the supporting sentences flesh out what a bad student, what we mean by bad student. So let's take a closer look at the clincher sentence. So you can think of your paragraph like this. It has a topic sentence, that's the main idea. You have supporting sentences that support your main idea. And then you have the concluding sentence, which sums up everything and then leads into the next paragraph. So you want your concluding sentence to restate your main idea, but in different words. So if we go back to our example, Brian has proven to be a disruptive, inattentive, and rude student. And in the clincher sentence on the bottom, Brian's continuous outbursts, so continuous outbursts match disruptive, inability to focus matches inattention, and bullying behavior matches rude, warrants serious attention and intervention. So we take those words and we make synonyms, or we use synonymous phrases so that we're repeating the information without repeating the words themselves. So we get to show off a little bit of our vocabulary. In doing that, makes the writing a little more interesting and less repetitive. And then we hang the paragraph all together by using transitions. So we're looking specifically right now at transitioning from sentence to sentence. And I want you to think of every sentence having an embedded expectation in it. So when we hear one sentence, we want a further explanation. We want to know why you wrote that sentence. We want you to expand on that sentence. So the following sentences should fulfill that expectation raised in the first one, right? So if we look at our example again, Brian has proven to be a disruptive, inattentive, and rude student. So expectation from reading a sentence like that is, give me the evidence, show me what you mean. So my next sentence starts by giving you evidence. He continually disrupts class by speaking out of turn. And you might ask, so yeah, but so why is that? That's not necessarily a disruption if he's adding to the class discussion. So why is that a problem? So we explain why it's a problem. This would not be a problem if he was contributing something to class discussions with his outbursts. And then tell me a little more about what you mean by outbursts. And we get very specific and say he tells inappropriate jokes. So from sentence to sentence, we're answering those little questions that would come up that from the previous sentence. So we can look at this and call it flow. We're letting our paragraph flow from one, making connections from one subpoint to the next. We can also use transition words. So again, because there are 3 subpoints or 3 sub-ideas in your paragraph, you want to make sure that they tie together. So words like this also suggests, he also interrupts. So the use of the word also is like an addition sign. So we are adding these things together and we're showing how they relate to each other. So that helps us create a logical chain in our paragraph so that the ideas don't seem slapped together or not really related to each other. So we look at deeper meaning, having each sentence